What's up guys, today we'll be going over all the new Warlock changes in update 2.2.1, which most of them are with Stormcaller on top and bottom tree. Then there's also one for Nova Warp, then also one for bottom tree Dawnblade. We'll be talking about both of those also, but mostly all the Stormcaller changes and how good they are and how good the subclass is overall now in PvE. So first, looking at the general change to just Stormcaller super in general, damage scales up to 150% over 5 seconds of continuous use of the attack, then also updated the FX and audio to support this functionality. So as you see on the Ogre, it originally hits for 603, but then as you hold the attack, it goes up and up and up, all the way up to 50% more damage, which they said 150%, but they says scales up to 150%, which means actually a 50% buff. Probably not the best way to word it for the community, but it's still the same name, 50% buff, if you hold it down for 5 seconds. And this helps with one of the main weaknesses of Stormcaller before, where when you got to majors or, things like that, it didn't do that well. It was really good versus low tier ads, but not majors, and now it kind of has a solution for that. Next thing we're going to talk about is Chain Lightning. Can now chain up to 5 times, up from 1, and each individual target can be hit twice. Chain damage decreased from 50 to 31 damage per hit. So on these Thrall, it happens very quickly, but it goes between 5 of them and kills 5 of them very quickly. Then once again on these, you can kind of see it a little bit better, where it chains 5 times. And the second part of that, if there's less than 5 enemies nearby, it can chain back and forth between them up to 5 times. So as you saw with those two, it's still got all 5 hits in. Up next is Arc Web. Increased chain range from 10 to 12 meters, can now chain to many more targets and back and forth between targets. Chaining arc damage now reduces the cooldown of your grenade, works with not only arc web but also chain lightning, and that is 3% per instance of damage in PvE, then also 10% in PvP. So first, looking at it with an arc bolt grenade on these Thrall, as you see, it chains a lot of times for a very long time. And as you see by my grenade cooldown, I got like roughly 60%, which would make me believe it chained 20 times if it's 3% per chain. Now doing the same thing with a pulse grenade, it seems to chain more times in total. If you look at my grenade cooldown, I almost get it fully back, which means it probably chained 30 plus times. And I don't know if that's just like a bug with pulse grenade, or if every single pulse of the grenade itself can then create its own arc web and chain multiple times. And every single time it pulses, create a new chain. So I don't know what's exactly going on there, but it seems like Pulse Grenade can result in a lot more chains. Up next will be the changes to bottom tree Stormcaller. Increased regen rate of Rift by 600% per nearby friendly guardian. Added UI for the buff. Also increased Rift duration from 15 to 20 seconds. Then also Arc Soul extended by 4 seconds to 12 seconds. While these are definitely good changes, it's not enough for me to use this path at all. Arc Soul is still extremely weak on this path. The extended time for Rift doesn't really matter that much when you have low ratings in the game, which is just a much better Rift, and that's what you actually use in most boss fights and whatnot. So nothing too notable for me on that path. Before we move on to the other ones, I want to talk about a cool combo on top tree, then also with Crown and Tempest. You can do a lot of crazy things. I've talked about Crown and Tempest many times on this channel. I'm not going to break it down fully, but you can proc conduction times up to ×3, which then gives you all of your abilities back quickly, including your super. As you see, my super bar is moving extremely fast with conduction times ×3. So with this build, I get my super very quickly. I pretty much have unlimited grenades, and then when I throw my grenades, I get arc web, which then gives me my grenade back even faster. If I don't have my grenade yet, I can then melee, which then also gives me my grenade back even quicker. Also procs Crown of Tempest again, and before you know it, you already have your super in like 20 seconds. It's like actually insane. Then not only that, on top tree with your grenade and melee charge, when you pop your super, it lasts longer. Then also with Crown of Tempest, when you get arc kills, which count as the super, it also increases the duration of Storm Trance. So taking advantage of both those things, you can have your super last for like 30 plus seconds, and you can kill like hundreds of ads with this thing. And like mentioned before, it completely shreds low tier ads. Then also with the 50% damage buff when you hold it down, it can now even go through majors and even some bosses pretty quickly too. And as you see, I'm going through this entire lost sector and I still have almost half my super by the time I get into the final room, which is actually insane. Now I clear the first wave of ads and still have a little bit of super for the boss. Another thing I had to try was Getaway Artist, where you create your own Arc Soul by consuming your grenade, and see if that procced Arc Web on top tree, and unfortunately it does not. That would have been kind of crazy if it did, but one thing I noticed here is as the Arc Soul gets kills, I get my grenade energy back, which I also tried this on bottom tree and I did the same thing, and I looked at all my perks, nothing said anything about getting grenade energy back on anything, so I don't know if that's a bug they introduced recently, or if you guys know what's up, let me know, but someone's definitely whack there. Now to talk about the Nova Warp changes, putting them up on screen. I'm not going to go over all of them because most of them are just undoing some of the nerfs that happened previously to the subclass. But overall, it definitely feels a lot better. Before, At times it felt like you could only get off like 3 detonations in total, and now you can get off like 6 or 7 depending on if you use the blink or not and how quick you do it. So it's definitely more usable, not quite to what it was before, but definitely better. Now the Dawnblade change. Tune the amount of super gained from Everlasting Fire. Initial return increased from 10 to 13%. Return then decays over the course of 30 kills from 13 to 0.75% per kill. So definitely a lot of stuff going on there. And overall, a lot of good changes. It still has a skill gap to how you can make this super last very long by not spamming it and making sure you get multiple kills with each actual sword throw. So on the right hands, you can still make it last pretty long, but no matter what, eventually it'll run out. Eventually you'll get to the point where you get less super back per kill than it costs to actually use the super, which I actually like overall. I don't think any super in the game should be infinite, and if they are infinite, I think it should be by a way of an exotic perk on armor, and not just straight up infinite just from equipping the actual subclass. So we went over a lot of things very quickly there. So overall opinions on these 3 subclasses after their buffs. Top tree Stormcaller, amazing. Pretty much infinite abilities that work really well together. You can get a lot of kills per grenade with it chaining and whatnot, same with the melee. Then with Crown and Tempest on top of that, and the change to Stormcaller, your actual super itself is extremely strong, probably one of the best in the game for ad clear. Also, the 50% buff makes it very usable versus majors, which before kind of lacked in that area. So overall, very well-rounded super, very good subclass behind the super. So overall, in my opinion, definitely top tier for Warlock. Bottom tree got a lot of changes to the actual rift and the arc soul. In my opinion, that doesn't really change anything about that path. If you're looking for support role in Warlock, you should probably be playing well Radiance anyways, so I don't really think that changes too much. The overworld definitely got a lot better than it was. Not quite back to where it was before all the nerfs in the first place, but definitely a step in the right direction. Usable again in PvE. I haven't used it in PvP, but I imagine it's probably usable in PvP again. I wouldn't go as far to say it's good in either PvE or PvP, but definitely back to being usable at least. And finally, the Dawnblade changes, in my opinion, are good. I don't think infinite supers should be a thing in either PvP or PvE. Like I said, if there are infinite supers, it should definitely be because of an exotic and smart play, not just something equip this subclass and you have infinite super. So I'm definitely fine with that change. Anyways, let me know what you think about all the Warlock changes. Do you like them? Which one is your favorite? Are you like me? Are you in love with Crown of Tempest, Top Tree, Stormcaller? Or are you enjoying Nova Warp again? Also, let me know if you want me to do this for Hunter and Titans. Obviously, my insight on those characters isn't quite the same as Warlock when I literally play Warlock all day, every day since the game came out. But I can definitely do that and probably get some input of other players too. Anyways, I'm looking forward to the event this coming Tuesday with the, revamped Haunted Forest, or whatever you want to call it. Should be pretty fun. I definitely enjoyed the Haunted Forest the first time around, so I'm definitely looking forward to grinding that out. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.